Hi Apartment Therapy, welcome to my 529 square foot apartment in New York City. This living room space is super narrow. As you can see when I stretch out my arms, I almost reach both sides. The best part about it is that it's really long, so I made a separate dining nook, and I also kind of moved the furniture all the way to the windows to make it feel very spacious and open. One of the more odd features of this apartment is that I have this wall that separates my kitchen from the refrigerator, but it's kind of nice because it makes it easy to get snacks very conveniently from my living room. But I tried to solve for that by adding this really tall mirror, which also opens up the space. A lot of people aren't so keen on having such large chairs here, but I'm a big fan of hosting, so I wanted there to be almost like two mini couches. They're really easy to just move around, and I like that I can bring them into the living room if I need to, but I really feel like I've established a sense of coziness with these two chairs because of the texture and the fabric. They're a nice soft velvet material. I also keep throw blankets on each one and this pillow. I really wanted to get a round table for this space because I felt like I have a lot of angular furniture, which can kind of feel harsh. And in order to really ground the space, I also added this small gallery wall. I have a neighbor who lives a few floors above me, and she chose to have her couch on this side of the wall, but for me, I have this wall that kind of separates the space, and I felt like it created a natural nook for my couch. I also wanted to have a different element in this space, and that for me was this coffee table. I really love the organic shape of it and the espresso color. These pieces really vary in height, so it kind of brings your eyes up and down, which creates a nice wave. And I also love that the candlestick holder has its own natural wave, so I don't know, for some reason I felt like it really went well with the curve of the coffee table. And with the coasters, I am covering an unfortunate mistake that I made when I was painting my nails on my coffee table. I completely spilled acetone all over. So we just cover it with some pretty coasters and pretend like it doesn't exist. This apartment has no overhead lighting aside from in the kitchen and the bathroom. So I do have my floor lamp, but I also wanted to add those sconces. These wall sconces are actually not hardwired. I just screwed them into the wall, and because of that I had to find battery powered light bulbs. So they are currently dead and they don't actually turn on, but when I charge them they do produce light, so that's really nice for when I want to sit down and read a book. I really wanted a large canvas art print here, but I just didn't want to spend the money. Art can be very expensive. So I started with this framed canvas from TJ Maxx, and I just spackled on top of it. And then I found this pretty almost terracotta color that I painted over it. And I literally cut up an old bed sheet, and I just sort of bunched it up and glued it down in different places. I really wanted a marble pedestal stand next to my couch, but they can be upwards of $1,000. So I figured I could make one myself, and I purchased the porcelain tile from Home Depot. And then I kind of just glued it together with Gorilla Glue, and I had the top tile cut to size at a marble shop, and it really just works out. It's actually quite heavy and stable, so I really like that. Storage has been a bit of an issue for me in this apartment. I really only have one true closet. So I've solved for this by keeping a lot of closed storage options. For example, this TV Credenza. I like that it has these pull-out drawers, but also this space on the inside where I can keep a lot of different items. I tend to keep clothes that I don't need to grab as often, or things that are like kind of last minute things that I can just grab. For example, my socks. I do keep a few games here for entertaining, and then just above it I also have my jewelry case. My nail polishes go in this bin here. I got these clear bins from Amazon, and they keep things from my tech items all the way to school supplies. Here is the bedroom. The bed is the biggest piece of furniture in the room, so I really like that I have it pretty much elevated with this giant wingback headboard, and it is from All Modern. And then as far as the bedding, I really just wanted it to feel like nice hotel bedding, and to me that means a giant white comforter and a quilt, and then I also have this weighted blanket at the foot of my bed from Bearaby. Again, we have no overhead lighting for me in this bedroom, but that was somewhat okay because I feel like I try to make my bed my zen zone. But I did want a table lamp here for when I read at night, and I also have a floor lamp. What I love about this nightstand is that it has this drawer, but I also have some hidden storage here. It didn't come with the basket, but I added this basket from H&M Home, and it really just gives me more space to throw in scarves, gloves, hats, any other winter accessories that I need. This here is the only designated closet space that I have in the apartment, so that's why I had to bring in this dresser as well as the cabinet. This is probably the biggest splurge in the apartment, and I really wanted to have it because it's pretty much an heirloom piece that will travel with me wherever I go. I like to say that it's very versatile, so it can be a pantry, it can be a closet, it can be whatever I want it to be. When you open it up, you can see I keep these little cubbies here that are from IKEA. These have sweaters, dresses, purses. So I have these shoe organization bins that I got as a set of 12 from Amazon, and I really love them because they're super easy to open. I also love how they're clear from the front, so you can really see what shoes are where, and because they're all the same, it just really looks cohesive and organized. In here, I keep most of my shirts as well as my jeans and pants. There are pretty much 3 separate sections to this closet. The taller boots I kept in their boxes because they were a lot easier to stack up. And then these shorter boots, I wanted them on display, and it makes it really easy for me to see what I have. And then I had really only this one rod when I moved in. So that's where I put all of my shirts. And then I got this nifty thing also from Amazon, which kind of creates a second layer and adds this second rod. So this is where I was able to hang all of my pants, jeans, skirts, and it just made this closet so much more spacious for me. Between the bedroom and the bathroom, I have this here, which looks like it would be another closet, but it actually stores my washer dryer unit. I did, however, need more storage. That's a running theme here. So I DIY'd this shelf here. I used this narrow piece of wood here for the base, and I nailed it directly into the wall. And then I just kind of mounted the larger wood piece right on top. I keep things like my linens, my Christmas decor, anything seasonal or that I don't have to reach for too much. So I originally purchased this tension rod and it kept falling because my jackets are way too heavy for it. So I ended up getting this little wood round piece and I screwed it into the wall, and that really helped to hold it in place. Since this closet doubles as my jacket rack and also a laundry unit, I have this roll-out laundry cart, and it just helps me to store my detergents as well as extra household items. In the bathroom, I really wanted to create a spa-like feel. Here I have this sand print over on the wall, and that just kind of reminds me of a beach. I also have this cart here that I got from IKEA, and I have the rolled up towels, the toilet paper in this basket, and those are different elements that really just help it feel relaxing for me. In the shower here, I incorporated the eucalyptus on the top, and I also have this bamboo tray that really is nice for when you're having a bubble bath. You can light a candle and just relax with a glass of wine. I also incorporated another plant which has really thrived here, and it's loved the bathroom despite it not getting that much light. And then here off to the side, you can see I have this wooden piece, but it actually was part of a lamp that arrived broken. And they said I could just kind of toss it. Maybe I will turn it into a towel holder or something. This is my kitchen, which also doubles as an entryway. The door to the apartment opens right into it, so I kind of really wanted to make it feel like a separate space. Kitchen on this side, entryway on this side. It's kind of a silly thing to have clothing in your kitchen, but as a New Yorker, these are the things that we have to work with. So the way that I sort of masked it was by incorporating all of this decor right on top, and it just kind of creates its own moment here so that you forget that this is even a dresser. It was important for me to have a mirror in my entryway. That's just like a last look before I leave the apartment. And I also have this catch-all dish, which I can just throw my keys into. But I also just love to incorporate fresh flowers into my home. So I tend to purchase fresh flowers for myself once a month at least. This is probably the book that I get the most inspiration from, so I really wanted to dedicate a specific space for it. And I just love flipping through the pages because it has these blown up pictures. And every time I have a guest come and they turn to a specific page, I'll just leave it there because I like to see what catches everyone's eye. This is another way I sort of solidified this as an entryway by having this coat hook and also a shoe rack just below it. And I had this large electrical box, which really was not pretty. So I covered it with this DIY art, and it's made out of cardboard that I just painted, cut up into small pieces. And then I also made this wood frame around it. And I just chopped up some wood and glued it all together. And now there is no electrical box. The kitchen is pretty standard. It's a galley kitchen, so it's all on this wall here. I really like to have small, beautiful moments, and here's another tray that I use to kind of host these flowers as well as a few candles. I like everything to be appealing, down to the pots that I use and the brush that I use to wash my dishes. There's also a few moments that feel like home to me. I have this doll from Dominican Republic, that's where my family is from, as well as this printed frame that also kind of reminds me of DR. I am a kindergarten teacher and I also do YouTube as a side hobby. Having my YouTube has been kind of fun because you all are watching the process along with me. Anytime my DIYs fail, you've seen it first, and I'm making memories through these videos. Home is whatever you want it to be. It can be a safe place or a party place. It can be your zen zone or your dance floor, and that's pretty much the best part.